All right, Jessica, take it away. Zoom. Tell you. So I don't know what. Forward. Yeah.
Good morning. We'll be starting our program shortly. If everyone can make their way to the seats, please. We invite you to come sit down. Please and thank you. There's still lots of room in the front row. Don't be shy.
Get the center row back here. Get up quick. We've been looking for that. See my camera. All right, we start now. There you go.
There we go. All right. Good morning. You guys, it's beautiful outside. Good morning. Yeah, you guys. My name is David Merriman, and as the Director of Health and Human Services for Cuyahoga County, I want to thank you for joining us today. It is a beautiful morning. This is Cleveland, so it's not always going to be 70 in March. We know that. But we're here today to celebrate a space that will be here, whether it's 70 or 7. This space is our space that we will be providing to the residents of Cuyahoga County. And so I'm honored to have you here with us today to unveil and cut the ribbon on this just fabulous facility. This extension was formulated in the pandemic, a reimagining of shelter space for people experiencing a homeless crisis. COVID, new resources, and a county commitment to speed up our pursuit of this vision made this possible. Today, we're finally here to see the idea become a reality. I want to acknowledge all of our valued partners here today. First and foremost, in County Council, sitting with us, Councilman Dale Miller, Meredith Turner, Yvonne Conwell, who you'll hear from in a few minutes. We have Councilwoman Stephanie House-Jones, from the Cleveland City Council, as well as Cleveland representatives. And so we're all here today to celebrate this space and to take a minute to walk through and just admire the great work that has been done for this community. Cuyahoga County has taken a leadership role for decades in this community's efforts to address homelessness. The Office of Homeless Services, as a funder, coordinator, convener of dozens of organizations that make up the continuum of care, came together to help shepherd this process. This community is committed to helping people in crisis find shelter, and just as importantly, find a path to sustainable housing and a better life. We invest tens of millions of federal and local dollars every year in this work, with an emphasis on treating people with equity, dignity, and compassion. I could go on because this work is that important. But what I want to do is I want to take a second and thank our county executive for his leadership and his commitment to advancing this work. One of his first acts was to invest in additional homeless outreach services. And those services are going to help fill this shelter up. And as we all prepare for those tough days, we all know we have a space behind us that's suited to meet the residents' needs. So I'd like to take a minute and invite Chris Rain to come forward. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Director Merriman, and thank you, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It is a special morning today on Lakeside Avenue for a number of reasons. I want to first echo the sentiment that David brought. Our great thanks to what I continue to call the best public-private nonprofit partnership in the land, and I mean the land beyond. We have the opportunity, because of this nonprofit partnership of frontline partners, to really be a national model for how we deliver human services in this community. So I can't say enough about our nonprofits who are here. Many are directly involved in this building, and many are directly involved in improving the livelihood of our residents that are out on the streets. So again, thank you, all of you nonprofits that are here with us. And to the public officials, leaders lead, they show up. I want to thank Councilwoman House-Jones. This is your ward. You never miss a meeting about the unhoused. When a county hosts it or a city hosts it, you're always here leading. I want to thank Councilpersons Miller and Turner, who I see here from County Council. And if I'm missing anybody, I want to thank the council staff too, from our Cuyahoga County staff. And who else? Anybody? Who am I missing? Oh, Yvonne is going to speak in a minute. Yvonne, you're out of my periphery, but I was about to introduce you. I'm coming back to that. Yvonne Conwell is our chair of Health and Human Services, and she does a terrific job. I just linger for a minute on that partnership with the city and the county. Thank you. And the nonprofits that help guide our work. I'm on a second tour of duty with Cuyahoga County now as your county executive, but I served at one point in the 90s and early 2000s with the county commissioners. And one of my very first projects was to represent the county next door as we endeavored to bring forth 2100 Lakeside. It was not easy. There was a lot of opposition to it. Proudly, I worked for public officials who were for it. And at that time, before LMM was here, we were working with the Salvation Army to get it started. And one of my proud moments in public service is that we got a shelter started here at an important place in the city of Cleveland. And now to be on a second tour where we are opening up further capacity is a proud moment as well. You know, it's bittersweet because we need these beds. We need this space. I was out visiting with the men in the shelter a few weeks back with our team in LMM and just making the rounds and walking and realizing it's crowded. It's crowded, and we need to give our residents the dignity of space as you have in your own homes, and places that they can think, that they can regroup, and that they can just receive the dignities that we want all of our residents in County to have. So really proud that we're opening this, but again, it's bittersweet because we need the space. And but I'm gonna focus on the sweetness because this is a team that is delivering over and over again. It's great, and I'll come back to our other speakers, but it is great to be joined here. In a minute, you're going to hear from Yvonne Kelmel, again, our HHS chair, who tirelessly works. This is her district in the county council, and Melissa Sirak, who's our director of Office of Homeless Services. We hit the ground running with you, Melissa, in terms of the intentionality to reduce the numbers of persons that are unhoused in our community. And Maria Fasher is going to speak as CEO of Lutheran Metropolitan Ministries, and Mike Searing is Vice President of Housing and Shelter Services. Mike, thanks for the tour the other day with the team here at Lakeside. And before we get to the ribbon cutting, I do want to say a few things about the county. I want to say to our media members, thank you for being here today. We appreciate you being in a place that matters today. So, you know, why are we here? Again, I mentioned that it's capacity building, it's the dignity of housing for those who need our services at the time of need, and it's what we do at the county. We are at the base a human service safety net for those who need us most, and we want to see people matriculate into places where they're living independently and fully fulfilled in their lives. But when they need us, we're here, and so that's why we're here today. Cuyahoga County, in partnership with Lutheran Metropolitan Ministries, announces today the opening of the new and greatly improved portion of the Lakeside Avenue Men's Shelter. I want to thank Robert P. Madison International for the team that's here. Thank you for your work and the design work. Good to be working with a local. And was just talking about Mr. Madison, the indomitable Mr. Madison, who over 100 years old is still with us and started the Madison firm. I could go on about that, but I won't get down that great rabbit hole. R.L. Hill, saw you on the way in. Thank you for what you do. Raphael Hill is here today. And I want to thank, again, LMM and our board that's here too today. Diane Stack is chair and Grayson Sieg is vice chair, in addition to the indomitable staff that's here. The building with which the county purchased in 2021, where we are now, we purchased for $550,000 to connect this historical portion of the shelter next door to this newly constructed area. It expands our shelter space overall by 14,000 square feet and has 113 bed capacity, which includes, importantly, the ADA accessibility that we need. Too many of our buildings are not universally designed just by way of their age for those who need different ways to get around for their mobility challenges. So great to see our ADA improvements happen, and the renovations will allow residents to have, again, increased personal space and overall a more dignified experience. The renovations include the construction of 60 semi-private living spaces. You see them. You can tour them later with, as we're standing on, new flooring, new HVAC system, which was really important and frankly was the but-for that held us up, but we got our supply chain moving and we got this in place. Our security system, our furnishings, our storage lockers. Again, things that are important. You know, think of yourself if you were traveling unhoused, just having the dignity of a locker to keep your belongings safe. We have everyday amenities like television. We have new reception intake area, community gathering spaces, bath and shower facilities here. I invite all of our public to visit, you know, at a time when it works for you. You might find yourself ultimately as a volunteer, as I met one of our volunteers the day of my tour, somebody who was writing poetry with residents just to get proximate and know what they're doing. They were working on a poetry project over the weekend. The cost of this phase of the project was just over $4.4 million in ARPA funding. The future plans include renovations further here at 2100 Lakeside. But our story in Cleveland, we have, as we gathered with Mayor Bibb's administration, Emily Collins, good to see you today. Thank you for your work over at the city with council and mayor and everything you guys are doing. But Mayor Bibb, said it, that this is an issue that we can together address and solve. But right now, our rates of homelessness have increased since COVID, and with the end of the most pandemic funding, most recent end of that funding, really new resources and better response is needed at this time. So we're at this cross current of ARPA winding down at exactly the moment when, sadly, our rates of the unhoused is going up, and there's some correlation coming out of the COVID pandemic, obviously. So with the sole exception of our child wellness initiatives in the Department of Children and Family Services, no program from Cuyahoga County over the last year has received more dollars over the last 2 years. And so we are committed to solving the challenges for our unhoused and getting people into support housing, but they need temporary shelter housing, as you see here today, for that in-between and transition time. Over 20 million in ARPA discretionary funding has been used to improve current shelters and facilities, including addressing cold weather surge capacity and displaying the county's commitment to addressing homelessness. The county has dedicated approximately 14 million per year in levy funds to eliminating homelessness, in addition to overseeing the distribution of a larger amount of HUD funding through the local continuum of care structure. It is my moment to say I hope you'll consider issue 26. Those are the kinds of dollars that go to help on the operations of exactly facilities like these. In 2023, Cuyahoga County led a collaborative application to secure over $41 million in HUD funding. Saw Congresswoman Chantel Brown yesterday, thanked her for the continued work out of Congress, but of course, Secretary Fudge, our former Congresswoman here, has helped lead the way for a continuum of care to provide housing solutions that address youth and senior homelessness as well, and affordable housing development, domestic violence related shelter services, and other strategies. We're all in on this panoply of problems that we've got to address affecting people in their daily lives. So ongoing programming aims to decrease homelessness by 25% in the coming year. In addition, the county is investing specifically for services formerly for incarcerated individuals. And I'm glad to see Simeon Best here at the Office of Reentry. Thanks for being here today, you and your team, Simeon, because we know stable housing reduces recidivism. Cuyahoga County is investing in also efforts to end youth homelessness with our programs like Reaching for New Heights, thanks to a $3.9 million grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Again, Cuyahoga County continues to invest significantly in the effort to end homelessness by providing funding to a multitude of communities and partner agencies that are here today. Through our ongoing partnerships with agencies like Lutheran Metropolitan Ministry, as one, we've created a transformative space that provides immediate support and stability by connecting individuals to resources in a dignified, respectable manner. We hope to help them on their path to independence. I am so pleased to have LMM here, but I also want to acknowledge Eden, I saw out here, and NEOC, and so many other partners who have been with us from the streets to shelters to permanent support housing. Thank you. And so many others I'm missing, but thank you. And once again, to our public leaders, thanks for leading. Thanks for showing up for what matters. And again, this private public nonprofit partnership is working well here. With that, I'd like to introduce Yvonne Conwell, our HHS chair on Cuyahoga County Council. Yvonne, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you to everyone here today with us to share in this reveal. It's a step towards homelessness. That is all of our goal. Thank you to all the partners. Today marks a momentous occasion in our community's journey toward compassion, dignity, and advocacy. Homelessness is not only an issue of statistics or numbers, it is a human experience that affects individuals as well as families in profound ways. For nearly the entire winter season, we've had residents attend our county council meetings, pushing us to improve options for those experiencing homelessness. I feel proud today to stand here and really have something to show for the work the county has been doing. We celebrate the expansion of the men's homeless shelter, and we reaffirm our commitment to addressing the pressing issues that head before us. We're celebrating today not only the expansion of the building, but it signifies more than bricks and mortar. It embodies our commitment to providing refuge and hope to those who need it most. I would not be remiss if I don't thank Miss Lou, who is one of the advocates, tireless advocates that stands before us every Tuesday on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, pushing and as well as attending the Wednesday HHS committee meetings. She keeps us on our toes. She lets us know what happens inside the walls. And so that makes a concern for each of us. I would be also remiss if I did not acknowledge the collaborative effort that made this expansion possible. Our county team is incredible, including our Director of Office of Homeless Services, Melissa Sirek. Come on, give her a clap, because she does the work for us. To our Director of Health and Human Services, David Merriman. Funny story, we're David and Yvonne when we're cool, when everything's right. We're Administrator Merriman and Councilwoman Conwell when it's not going right. And our Director of Public Works, Michael Dever, raise your hand. And our Maintenance Administrator, Matt Reimer, and his stellar team for getting this work done. Round of applause for them. Without partners like the team at Lutheran Metropolitan Ministries does a fantastic job maintaining the shelters while also spearheading new initiatives that think creatively about housing solutions for those in need. I think me and Levine Ross, public policy analyst, was just there and just hearing the dynamic things and the vision and the direction that they want to take this homeless issue. Applause for them, please. Wait. Can't do it without you. And this work is more far-reaching than ever before. Over the past few months, we have deployed new strategic action plans, engaged our youth experiencing homelessness, and providing funding to critical community shelters and organizations doing the work on the ground. NEOC, let's give a hand for NEOC. We cannot do it alone. We know the ultimate answer to homelessness is more housing. We all know that. I think I heard a statistic on the news. It's about 12% homeless now across the nation. It's sad. We're almost to 25. We're rising. We should all feel a heartbeat about that. Housing that is decent, accessible to safe and affordable. When housing is paired with the right level of voluntary and accessible services, when the process of searching for housing is supported, and when individual needs and preferences are addressed, those experiencing homelessness can successfully end their crisis. That's why I'm pleased that County Executive Ronayne and Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb are partnering on the Home for Every Neighbor initiative that will, among other things, help expedite the housing process for our unsheltered residents. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you. Round of applause. Thank you. We all know that we always achieve more when we what? Work together. It's clear that today's celebration is just the beginning. Our work is far from over. As we celebrate these milestones, let us also recommit ourselves, each of us, to the ongoing fight against homelessness. Let's continue to advocate for policies that prioritize affordable housing, support services, and opportunities for all. My county council colleagues, Dale Miller, Meredith Turner, they're here today because we fight for those policy changes. Not without my girl, Stephanie House Jones. I want to thank her because her tireless advocacy across the few streets at the city of Cleveland keeps this vision alive in those halls as well. So when we're talking in committees, it's not just me, not just David, but all of us to end this homeless crisis. Thank you to everyone once again who has contributed to this vital work, especially I want to say Councilwoman House Jones. We work very closely with phone calls of people calling us who is just as passionate as I am in solving the challenges for the future. Thank you.
All right.
I would now like to invite Melissa Sirak, Director of the Office of Homeless Services, to come forward.
I am the fourth speaker, so let's see if we have the same energy here this morning. Good morning. Whoa. Good morning, everyone. Again, I am Melissa Sirak. I am the Director of the Office of Homeless Services for Cuyahoga County. It is my sincere honor to stand before you today as we celebrate a significant milestone in our ongoing efforts to address homelessness in our community. As many of you know, the Office of Homeless Services is the designated lead agency for the continuum of care, guiding our collective efforts to provide support and solutions for those experiencing homelessness. Cuyahoga County has led the community's response to homelessness for the last 30 years. During that time, the county has never wavered from a commitment to address homelessness with collective action, evidence-based best practices, data-based decision-making, and ultimately, compassion. Shelter is undeniably a critical component of our approach to homelessness. It serves as a lifeline for individuals and families in crisis, offering safety, stability, and a pathway toward rebuilding their lives. That's why initiatives like the Cuyahoga Continuum Strategic Action Plan are so crucial. Released in March of 2023, this plan outlines clear goals and strategies for improving the experience of those in a housing crisis. Goal 2 specifically focuses on this aspect, emphasizing the need to enhance the quality and effectiveness of our shelter systems. The county's investment in 2020 Lakeside represents a significant step forward in turning these goals into reality. By acquiring and rehabilitating this facility, we are also making a profound statement about our values as a community, highlighting the importance of safe, dignifying shelter as the stepping stone from homelessness to housing. It is a tangible expression of our commitment to treating every individual with the respect and compassion that they deserve. From a very early age, I was taught fundamental values that have guided my work in homeless services for many years. I believe that every person deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, and that we have a responsibility to show love and kindness toward our fellow human beings, regardless of their circumstances. This belief is at the heart of everything we do at the Office of Homeless Services. Providing emergency shelter at 2020 Lakeside is more than just a practical solution. It is an embodiment of these values in action. It is a tangible expression of our commitment to treating every individual with the respect and compassion they deserve. Moreover, the lessons we have learned during the COVID-19 pandemic have underscored the importance of providing individuals with a safe and supportive environment. We have seen firsthand how a more non-congregate space can better support individuals in focusing on their housing plans and addressing their diverse needs. In conclusion, the acquisition and rehabilitation of 2020 Lakeside represents not only a significant investment in infrastructure, but also a reaffirmation of our commitment to kindness, respect, and dignity for all. As we move forward, let us continue to work together to build a community where every person has access to the basic necessities that they need to thrive. At this time, I have the pleasure of introducing Maria Fosha, President and Chief Executive Officer of Lutheran Metropolitan Ministry.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. What a delightful day it is, isn't it, to celebrate. On behalf of our board of directors and staff partners, we are delighted to have arrived at this day of the ribbon cutting, celebrating the expansion of the men's emergency homeless shelter. You know, LMM's partnership with Cuyahoga County and the Office of Homeless Services to provide emergency shelter dates back to 2005. Taking on the operations of the largest emergency shelter in the state of Ohio was an inflection point for LMM in its history, and seen by my predecessors as an opportunity to build on the promise of our mission to promote peace and justice through a Christian ministry of service with those oppressed, forgotten, and hurting. Our mission is fully aligned with Cuyahoga County's efforts to reduce and end homelessness through providing low barrier immediate shelter and promoting a housing first rapid exit response to homelessness. We share the county's strategy to provide access to quality emergency shelter services that are welcoming and appropriate to an individual's needs, and to implement innovative solutions to get people to a place of housing stability. LMM's approach to shelter services over more than 19 years has not only been to offer a place for sleep and meals, but also to offer a place for respite and hope, so individuals know that they are not alone in their journey to housing stability. That includes the hospitality of a caring community, starting with our dedicated and compassionate staff partners, many of whom have lived experience of homelessness. They are an example of resiliency, strength, and inspiration to all who come through the doors. It also includes more than 1,200 volunteers who provide meals, computer training, arts and cultural programming, job search assistance, and other supports, church, civic, and corporate groups who provide days of service, and service partners such as Metro Health and Care Alliance who provide much needed medical interventions. By engaging the community at large, we have established the shelter as a place that elevates the sense of belonging and supports the physical and mental health and well-being of residents. The expansion to this beautiful space will enhance LMM's ability to elevate our level of hospitality and allow our staff team to further demonstrate LMM's core values in action. You've heard about these values today: dignity, respect, inclusiveness, and justice. We thank county leadership for this important investment and the continued partnership, and look forward to welcoming individuals into this beautiful new space very soon. Thank you. I will now, and really proud to introduce Michael Searing, Vice President of Housing and Shelter for LMM. He has, so driven in this process, and I know see some head shaking with our community partners as well. And it's your vision, innovation that keeps us moving forward along with these partners to really get to the place where we want to get to end homelessness. So, Michael, please come on up.
I'm not sure what happened to the screensaver. We had fireworks. I think in about 2 minutes we'll bring them back for the ribbon cutting. But thank you, Maria, for those comments, and I echo the appreciation to the county for their leadership, strategies, and of course the funding to make this happen. The County Office of Homeless Services is the lead convener and works with all of us on two main things. One is the immediate shelter safety net. The other is access to housing, as we share the belief that housing is the solution to homelessness. In a few minutes, County Public Works and LMM staff will take this group around this shelter and we'll see what we're talking about for much improved, dare I say, beautiful spaces for 114 people. This is wonderful in a few ways. Obviously, how nice this area is for people coming into shelter. While we have been able to meet the demand for shelter with this space, we will no longer need off-site location and shuttle trips to meet those periodic influxes. But also what is not seen here is that on the other side of the connector to 2100, we can now rearrange or deconcentrate 1/3 of our beds, and that will make for better spaces for everyone. And we also have a plan to now work on rebuilding the inside of that shelter, perhaps in a similar manner as this beautiful space. You guessed it, the county is leading that effort too. The average stay at our shelter is about 40 days, and we continue to try and get that number lower and lower. But while people need us, we are so happy to have this space and be there for them. Thank you to everyone who made today and this space happen, including my staff partner, David Blunt, who led LMM on our side of the effort, and to David Merriman, who will now close us out.
Thank you, Michael, Maria, Melissa, Yvonne, and Chris. So I was speaking with a couple homeless outreach staff yesterday who focus on the unsheltered. And what they shared with me is there are many unsheltered homeless individuals that have never stepped foot in the shelter. They've never gone in because of concerns about safety or cleanliness. And I think as you walk around this facility, I'd ask you, sort of linger on the beds. Take a look at the lights that we have installed in every one of these cubicles. These are lights that will shine on our residents as they read. Consider the electrical outlets that they'll plug phones into to stay connected to their community, to stay connected to family, and to engage in their search for resources. There's a ramp out the back that was installed to improve access to the disabled for both buildings and a connector between both buildings. The design of this space is very intentional. And I think as we made this investment, at the heart of this investment was our residents. This is first and foremost a space for the residents of Cuyahoga County. As Chris talked about, inviting the public in. The public will use this space and use it well. Before we conclude, I do also want to just take a second and thank, first and foremost, Cleveland Building and Trades. They did the amazing work here. They did outstanding labor to have this space prepared in this way, on time, under budget, even through a COVID supply chain maze. We'll leave it at that. I want to thank Susan Milligan from Public Works. I want to thank Wendy Harris from RL Hill Management and Matt Dyack from Hoffman Engineers. And as we close today, I want to invite you to take a minute and see the space and enjoy it. And as you do, take a minute to meet folks like David Blunt. David, put your hand up in the back. David represents the shelter staff that will be here long after we leave. And those staff, at the end of the day, will be the staff that make this space the resource that we all need it to be. So please, join us in walking through and seeing what we have to offer. So at this time, I want to invite our officials to come forward, and we're going to cut the ribbon and conclude today's presentation.
We wanted to invite anybody that wants to be with us up behind the ribbon. Lou, that means you. Anybody that, come on, all of you that are in this network of service, come on up. All right. We're gonna go one. All right.
I don't know if I would trust. 3, 2, 1.
So we're gonna tour.
Yes, we got tours.